So for lesson 3, we are going to be adding images to our pages, and we are going to be working with links. So this is a pretty big week. One of the biggest problems that students run into this week is that the names of your images and the names of your files and folders are case sensitive when you view them in the web browser online. So after you transfer them with FileZilla, they are going to be case sensitive. When you look at them offline, they are not case sensitive, and that is a huge problem. So upper and lowercase are different after you use FileZilla and you transfer them. So that is the biggest problem that people have. So what I would recommend is that you just uh, do all lowercase or you remember how you named the files. That is super important. Or your images aren't going to display or your graphics aren't going to work. Um, so the pages in your book that you need to read are, there's not a whole lot of pages. Most of the information on this is in the lecture demo. And you'll notice that we have split this into 3 different sections because this information is really important. So the first section basically explains the different image formats that you work with when you are doing web development. So it goes through the different image formats and when they're used. We talk a little bit about SVG, which we really don't get into in this course, but there is a question about SVG graphics on the certification exam, which is why I mentioned it. So what you basically need to know is that these are line-based. So they don't lose quality when you make them bigger or smaller because it's all based on lines. And that line information is stored in an XML file. And that is what you need to know for the MTA exam. We also get into some basic photo editing. If you have Photoshop, awesome, you can use Photoshop. Most people do not have that, and Photoshop is not cheap. So as an alternative, you can use LunaPic. LunaPic is a little online uh, program or portal that lets you upload and edit pictures. If you don't have your own pictures, you can actually get some royalty-free free ones from LunaPic as well. So it's pretty easy to use. And so all of the basic photo editing that we cover can be done in LunaPic. And so the instructions that I've given in here are for LunaPic because I didn't want to assume that people had the expensive Photoshop program. So as you go through here, you do want to read through this because it does explain how to resize, how to crop photos, which basically involves selecting a portion to keep and discarding the rest. How to change file size and quality. A little section on how do I know what part to keep and what part to discard. Okay, and there are some methods and techniques that photographers use to determine which part of the picture to keep and which part to discard. So that's all explained here. We also get into how to create thumbnail graphics, which are the little pictures that typically link to the larger pictures. You will learn how to fix color problems in images. Over time, sometimes your images will lose the yellow tones. They might look too blue, or they may look too yellow. They may lose their blue. So what do you do if that happens? There's an example here, and it shows you how to fix that, how to do some enhancements for color. All that kind of fun stuff is in this document. Then we get into HTML for images. So now that I know how to fix images that have problems, I know how to create thumbnails, know how to do a web optimized image. How do I get that picture into my web page? And this document tells you how to do that. So we specifically go through the tags that you need and the attributes that are required for inserting pictures. Okay. Also, how to determine what the dimensions of your picture are. And there's a couple different ways you can do it in Windows. Okay, so this is kind of a short one, just covering the HTML that you need to know. And then we get into hyperlinks. Now, what I would recommend is that you do the image section in one sitting, and then you go through the links in another sitting, because it's really too much to do all at once. So we get into hyperlinks. So you can have a link from one area in a document to another area. That's called an internal link. And you can have a link from one of your pages to another page. That is an external link. So we talk about internal links and how to create those. And then we get into external links and how do you plan a sequence of pages. So we get into this different techniques that people use for linking to pages within a website. And then how you would go about creating an external link. And there's two different types. There's relative links and absolute links. Relative links are basically links from one of your pages to another page that you have created. That would be when you would use a relative link. An absolute link would be a link from your page to a completely different page, or from your page to a YouTube video. Okay, that would have to be an absolute link. So if it is not stored on the web server that has your page, then you're going to have to do an absolute link. Okay, so this talks about how to create relative links and how to create absolute links. And in order to do relative links, you do have to kind of visualize where your pages are. So this document is really important for you guys to go through and read through and understand. So if you have any questions, if there's something you don't understand, please ask me. Once you have gone through this, you are going to work on the textbook assignment. So for your textbook assignment, you are going to start by creating the lesson 3 folder. And then you are going to get into task 2, which involves downloading some images and modifying them using LunaPic. And I do have a little warning here about downloading files. You want to right click on these, and then you want to save link as. Okay, that's very important because if you click on this and you do something like a file save as, it's going to save a web page, it's going to save folders, it's not going to save it correctly. Make sure you right click, When I give you graphics or I give you pages, make sure you're right-clicking on those. Okay, so there's videos that show you how to do all of this, and I included lots of graphics to help you, and you're pretty much going to work through this. And then you'll get down to the very bottom, and there's kind of a summary of what you completed and what you need to turn in. Okay, so you do need to transfer these, and there's a little video that kind of covers that. And then we get into the lab assignment. So there's a couple different parts to this lab assignment. Part one, you're going to create your own page with graphics and links. There is a little video that kind of goes through this. The content can be whatever you want, but you do need to kind of adhere to NMC's Title IX and the Student Code of Conduct. So you might want to read through those if you're not familiar with them. But what you're going to want is a page that's got 3 little sections that kind of work like this. So I did a big cats page where there's a tiger. I think I did a lion and another kind of cat. And you can click to open them, click to close them. And the thumbnails link to larger pictures. And you will notice that I took this information from the World Wildlife Organization, so I did cite that information here. Okay, and this is the HTML I used to get that example. I have another example with bridges. So I got this information from here, and then here's my HTML. I mentioned I did a big cats page, so here is all of the HTML for that page. And you can see that I've got my thumbnail, and the thumbnail is a link to a larger page. So here's my thumbnail, and then I have the opening link here and the closing link surrounding that thumbnail. And if you wanted to see this live, I've got the page here. And you're going to do something similar. My little theme on mine was cats, but you guys can do it on whatever you want. But when we click on these, it should take us to the larger picture. So in Lunapic or whatever photo editor you want to use, you do need to create a thumbnail, and you do need it to link to a web optimized image. So you're going to have to do a little editing on your images. So that's the first part. Part two is taking the text that is in your assignment page and converting it over into links, so that when I look at your assignment page, I can actually click on those links and go to your pages. So this is kind of what it looked like before. And then this is what it looks like after I converted it to links. So that's part two. Part three is adding a background graphic to your page. And you can get some really nice background graphics at this site. And there's a little YouTube showing you how to use the site. If you would prefer to use a photo, you can use a photo, but you're probably going to have to make it lighter. Otherwise, your text won't show up. So I did a little video showing you how to lighten photographs. Okay, and then there is a little video showing you how to actually take that graphic and make it a background image in your page. So when you're done, your page is going to look something like this. Now, if you are interested in photographs, I do have royalty-free images. There are links to different sites. I like Pixabay. That is an awesome site. They have great images. Okay, so that is where I usually go if I don't have my own photo to use. So you will be transferring your revised assignment page and the graphic that should be in a media folder to the web. In addition to that page that you created up here in part one. Okay, that should be in your lesson 3 folder. Once you get everything transferred, you will go into the Dropbox and add done. And you will notice at the bottom is a little rubric indicating how many points each thing is worth. After you transfer your pages for this assignment in particular, it is really important that you view it live online because it may look okay viewing it offline, but there may be a problem with the upper and lowercase letters, and it won't show online. And it may be something simple like in your link, you did it like mine, okay, and you did a capital L in lesson. But when you created that lesson folder, you used a lowercase l. If you type the link in like this, that is exactly how it has to be on the internet or it will not display. Now you can see here, lesson 3, this is actually the web address. Lesson 3 here has a capital L. If I try to display this page with a lowercase l for lesson 3, it's not there. Okay, because things are case sensitive when they are live on the web. So if I put that capital L back in, it is here. That is why it's super important for you guys to check all your work after you transfer it. If you run into problems, if something isn't displaying and you don't know why, throw me an email and I will take a look at it and I will let you know. If it's a big problem, I'll probably do a video and send it to you. If it's a little problem, I will just send you an email and explain it to you. Please ask if you run into any problems. Try to have fun with this one because adding graphics and links is fun. Okay, it's how you make your pages, start making them interactive. So have a great week and let me know if you have any questions.